The Powers Project.
Okay, so now we're recording. Are we ready, gentlemen?
Oh yeah,
All
let's
right.
do it.
All right. Three, two, one, and we're live. Kenyatta, Ronnie, how you guys doing today?
Good, my
I'm
man.
great, brother. Great.
Kenyatta, you're out there in Arizona, right?
Yeah, I'm out here in the desert, making sure my tan stays right.
Yeah, it seems to be working. so,
Yeah.
so yeah, you don't change. We just had a time change last night, and Arizona is one of the states that decides that they're not gonna do it like everybody else. I would honestly,
Smart.
yeah, it is. You would do that.
It's just annoying.
I want to get. We got our hour back. Now I say we keep it.
Keep it.
That's it.
Yeah. It's probably one of the weirdest things to get used to because I'm from the Pacific Northwest, so I would be like, "Oh, Sunday football. The Seahawks play at this time," and then I would like go to a sports bar and be like,
You be waiting.
How comes nobody's here? And I'm like 2 hours off. And yeah, so it takes a little to get adjusted to. But typically, when you're dealing with other people, like you guys in Orlando, and you say, "Hey, we're gonna do this thing at 4," and I'm like, "For whose time? Like your time, West Coast time, or
Right.
Mountain time?" Because most people don't even know Mountain time like that.
Right. I do.
So
I
yeah.
have friends that live
Yeah.
in Utah, and I think Utah's in the mountain time. Yeah.
hmm
So yeah. Well, Kenyatta, people know who Ronnie is because Ronnie's been on a couple of my shows. They know that he does JKD and that he does training at
Title boxing.
yeah Title Boxing Club. And so, why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners and the viewers and let them know who you are?
All right. Well, my name's Kenyatta Banks. I'm a fitness instructor, fitness professional, specialize in hit training, strength training. Um, I created my own brand, Arsenal by Kenyatta. I have an 8-week program online people can do. I have like on demand, people can do workouts for as little as $10 a month. Um, I do events before the Rona hit. Like last year, I was doing 150 people on hotel rooftops, pool parties, taking two sides of the world and blending them together. So a crazy workout and then a party after. And I host retreats. So last year I hosted a retreat in Greece. So anything fitness where I can bring people together, that's what I do. And I just specialize in creating an experience. I think people have taken this fitness thing and even in personal training, they leave the personal part out. So it's just training. And so I specialize in those things and really getting into the psyche or at least the mentality of people because this outwardly appearance is just an outwardly appearance. And so if we're not working in between the two ears, pretty much wasting time. So that's what I do,
What
just helping people.
what do you see as being like and Ronnie, let me ask Ronnie first. Ronnie, what do you see as being the main reason people come to you to want to start working out?
The main reason
Yeah.
it could be multiple reasons: losing weight, weak self-esteem, or they just want to learn how to defend themselves. There's multiple reasons.
And what about you, Kenyatta?
I think it's a energy thing. I mean, it's just one element, right? But I genuinely care about the results from the inside out because this day and age, people are really vain and the girls that are like, I just want a bigger booty and that's all I want to focus on. I'm like, don't come to me because there's so much more than that. I don't want to just focus on one thing. We do the totality or we don't do it at all. You know what I mean? And so I'm more about creating the experience with the person and building a genuine relationship. And I'm more about teaching them how to fish on their own than dragging them along, as I was taught years ago in the personal training world. It's like you withhold this information and you don't, so they always come back. You know what I mean? It's like Lisa pays Kenyatta's light bill, so you just
Right.
string her. And I'm like, I don't want to string you. I'd rather teach you. So if you go to Orlando and you meet Ronnie or you're in the gym with you or whatever, or by yourself, that you absolutely know what to do. And maybe you're not intimidated by the dumbbell section where all the guys are, right? Because that's a lot of people are afraid, especially women are afraid of that because they don't know what to do. So,
You're
it's
right.
educating people to be able to survive and be successful on their own.
My thing is this too, when people come to us, I don't think they really know why sometimes.
I think
Facts.
think they know. They think that they want to, like, if look, I've been doing it because I'm a lot older than you two, and I've been doing this for a long, long time. And many years ago, I started this whole thing like that you're doing now, where I say, you have to change your mindset. You have to change the mindset of the person in order for this to last, in order for it to work the way it's supposed to, and in order for you to be able to continue on after you leave me. And you said something, Kenyatta, that I completely agree with. I always told my clients, I go, look, I'm going to teach you what you need to know. So that way, if you stay with me, it's because you want to, not because you need to, because you'll know that
Facts.
if you leave me, you can go do this anywhere by yourself. You don't need anybody else because I'm going to teach you what you need to know. And you're right, Kenyatta, too many personal trainers out there just string their clients along. They don't want them to learn. They don't want to teach them. I want you to learn. I want you to be, you know how good I want you to be? I want you to be so good that if you want it, you could become a personal trainer and be better than 99% of the other personal trainers out there. That's how much I want you to know. So,
Yeah, that's rare though. Like that right there, people ain't doing that at all. You know what I mean?
but you know what I'm finding is that because you said you either going to do it this way or we're not doing it at all. I found that when I wanted that to happen, I would approach clients and I go, look, I understand why you're here. You want to build confidence, and you think by having a better body, you're going to get that confidence.
Right.
And I go, confidence comes from within.
Right.
So you can have the hottest body, but I can tell you right now, you want to look at a beautiful woman, she's the most insecure woman you will ever
You
find.
better believe it.
Find a good-looking guy who's built muscularly, I go, he's one of the most insecure men you will ever find. And that's why they do it, is because they are insecure, but they never lose that insecurity. It's all this false bravado that they put out there. It's a charade because they're not really secure in who they are. And because they never had someone like you or me or Ronnie to teach them about how to become confident from within. And so I love what you're doing. And that's what I was going to ask you is how, I know how Ronnie teaches because he
Yeah.
teaches like I do. And that's what I kind of got the idea that you did as well, is that this is how you're different from everybody else out there. Would that be correct?
Yes, it's very interesting too, because people will come to me and say, "Well, what makes what you do so different?" And they're waiting for some elevator pitch, some rehearse, and I'm like, "I'm me, and I know who I am." And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "I know who I am, so I'm not gonna try. I could go learn from you. I could learn from Ronnie, but I will never be you guys, right? And I don't want to be." So once I realized, like, yo, this is me. This is how I teach. I could teach someone to be really good, but I call it an it factor. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have it and we operate up here, I could get you like here, right? But you have to be willing to learn because there's a formula to it. There's elements that, especially like I really do group fitness, like really. And sometimes personal trainers try to cross over and they can't handle it because it's too much. It's too much for me. And I'm like, I'm really not good at multitasking, except for when I'm in a class with a whole bunch of people. And it's like, I love it. It's like, oh, this is happening. This is happening. Put a fire out over there and fire. And I'm the water. And put that one out and do this. But motivate people, but inspire them, but push them outside their comfort zone. Keep them safe. Make them laugh. Be entertaining. All this is happening at once. And then they're like, yeah, they're going to be sore. But something happens and you're like, yo, I'm coming back because, wow, he really tried to kill me. I don't really like to say that. I tell him I'm giving you life. That's what you feel. Call it death if you want. I'm giving you life right now.
I say that to the people I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't
right?
like my class. I'm like, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah, I'll turn up on you in a minute. Like, yeah, okay, but it's that experience that they get, and then there's that inner like, well, I need to try to conquer this thing. So now they come back and they come back and they come back. And you typically, I don't know what they're going through, but I'm also an empath. So I feel it.
Right.
And I might say, oh, Jennifer over here, this woman, there's something in her eye. I felt something that was kind of dark. I leave it alone. I don't bring up. And then months later, she'll say, you know, when I first came here, I was going through a divorce. That's what I saw. That's what you're fighting against.
Kenyatta, you bring up a great point. I really believe the best personal trainers are empaths, because I am too. And I go, you have to be able to sense what your client is like. You have to be aware of it. You don't need to know exactly why they're feeling what they do, but you can feel them. I can feel clients come in. There's days I've had clients go, why did you make me do 2 extra reps or an extra set of warm-ups when you normally don't do that? And I said, because I know you need it today. And they like, I did, but how do you know that? And I go, because when you pay attention, you can sense, like you connect with that client. You can sense that, and good personal trainers are good at that. And you know, and not everyone can do that. So that's credit to you.
Yeah. Well, that's just
real.
Right.
I mean, you give a damn about your
right
your
because
client,
you're paying attention to it. You know, there's nothing worse than watching a personal trainer on his phone while he tells his client to go do some reps, and he's not even paying attention. I want to go over there and smack that guy. You're taking
people.
You're taking their good money, their hard-earned money. You're taking it, and you're not giving them what they need. You give
or they live in New Jersey and they not really getting paid. So it's just,
right, yeah. Exactly.
like, yeah, man, she owed me about $1,500. So YouTube. But no, that's a pet peeve of mine. Like, you have to be present. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many elements to this that I think people, don't. They see the fluff, and I want to be a trainer because I'm fit, or I want to be a trainer because of girls. And I had a guy the other day come to me at the gym, and he said, "Man, you got all the girls in your class. I know you just be." I said, "Bro, no, I don't." He's like, "What?" I said, "You can have Adam, all of them, if you want." I said, "This is deeper to me. This is a purpose. I'm on a mission. That is not what this is about." And I said, and once you open them doors, your business is going to suffer. It's going to be drama. So don't even, but that's what they see. So sometimes people just don't know what they don't know. And they just think they see one thing. Oh, I want to be a group fitness instructor. Okay. I want 150 people on the rooftop. Okay. And I will collaborate with someone and watch them freak out because they're not ready. I'm like, y'all been doing this for a long time. But I also started in a garage with 3 people, and I never forget that. Right. So I mastered the art of making 150 people feel like one person. And if you can't do that, they're going to know.
Right.
I had a guy texting me the whole week leading up to an event. So what are you going to do? Because here's what I wrote down, and this is what I'm going to do. And I said, bro, let me tell you something. I'm not writing down nothing. He's like, what? I said, I'm going to feel the crowd. And that's what's going to happen. Huh? I said, you're not there yet, and it's fine. But don't say you're ready for something. And you're not, because then he gets on the stage and it's like freezing. And he's looking at me and I'm like, you got to connect with them.
Right. It's true.
You have to. If you don't connect with people, especially now, they disconnected all day.
True. Ronny, I was going to say, you must deal with that a lot because you do a lot of group, right?
All the time. At the Title Boxing Club, I used to see instructors write notes and what they're going to do in each round and what they're going to say and stuff like that. It's crazy. You don't express yourself doing that. You sound like a robot.
But that's what the industry wants.
Exactly. That's what the industry wants. That's what corporate wants, right?
Right.
So when I first started there 2 years ago, it was very robotic. I used to call it very like Disney, Nickelodeon type of stuff. They were talking on the microphone. It didn't seem real at all. I'm a filmmaker. I know when people are acting. So that's what they're doing, acting like as if they're reading a script. It wasn't even real, but the people couldn't tell the difference. I could.
Right.
But if I was just a regular member or client who walked in and walked out, I would have said, these guys don't care. They don't care. They're just acting it out. It's not them doing this. You know what I mean? So what I did, I took advice from a very popular title instructor who came from New York. I always remember, because I came in for an interview. They had me hit mitts and stuff. He held mitts for me too. He was very popular. And before he left, he told me, say, hey, just be you. Just do you. Don't look at them. Don't try to listen to what everybody else got to say. You need to do you. And that was it. It took me like a week to figure that out. But when the bulb went off and I was like, I'm not being myself. I like to crack jokes. I like to make people smile. I like to make people laugh.
Bruh.
I like to bring that energy that they're accomplishing something when they leave my class. So when I started taking that mentality, man, people started coming. 24 people, 30 people, 40 people. They just started coming more and more and more. They like the energy, They want to have fun, but at the same time, they want to feel like they're accomplishing something.
Right.
When I do my classes, it's like I'm the orchestrator. I'm holding my wand. If I want to raise it up, I'm going to raise it up to the roof, and then I can bring them back down. So it's like in my classes, they say it's one of the most intense classes because I can bring it way up to the ceiling, and then we'll bring it back down. We'll bring it back up, we'll bring it back down. But they're going, they're working. I can see it in their eyes. I can see it in their techniques. They're just there with me. You know what I mean? But if I was to act it out, if I was reading a script, if I kept looking at my notes or something, what I'm going to do around,
Yeah.
It comes from the heart. My techniques come from the heart.
You know who was
and people know that.
Yes.
They feel that. Like what you said is my class is intense. Here's what the person who doesn't realize that you're doing all these things at once, all they know is that your class is intense. So what do? I'm going to go make a harder class than his because they think that's the element.
Exactly.
So many people, Kenyatta's class, this Arsenal hit is ridiculous. Oh, okay, well, I'm going to just make my stuff 10 times harder. And I'm like, you're trying to hurt people.
Right. And that's what they do. You're absolutely right. That's my pet peeve, is one of my pet peeves. I've watched personal trainers, especially young ones who don't know what the hell they're doing. And they think a good workout is when they can put their clients through something where they can't, like they vomit, and they go,
yeah.
And unfortunately, the client falls for that nonsense and thinks, oh, that was a really good workout because I'm so sore a week later. No, if you're sore a week later, you were trained too hard.
They push you.
And if you're vomiting, you need to be pushed, but not to the point where you vomit. Even if you need to start them back slowly.
Right.
And a lot of these so-called personal trainers, they don't know what the hell they're doing. And you're right. It's like, oh, Kenyatta thinks he can train hard. Watch this. I'll show you how you train someone hard.
Yeah, bro. And here's the thing. I tell people, they like, oh, I was gonna throw up. I'm like, well, when did you eat before you came here? At what time? 2, let me tell you something. If you think that's a compliment to me, I don't take it that way. And 3, I don't want to see you throw up, actually. So
you dare.
Not on my I don't want to see that. That doesn't make me feel better.
Right.
But sometimes it's because they took some pre-workout they never had right before, or sometimes they just ate a big meal right before and they thought they was going to be in some cakewalk. But yeah, that's not the goal, right? And people some trainers quantify that as success.
Right.
But for us being seasoned, then this is why we need a podcast like this. And this is why we need to teach those willing to learn, because they don't know what they don't know. And I was taught early in the personal training world when I lived in Miami that that's what you do. You kill somebody in the middle of the floor, you make them throw up or want to pass out, and then you sell them personal training. Huh? What? Wait, what? And I learned early, like, man, y'all don't care about people. So when I hear the robots, it's just like, yo, I'm not going to tell you guys are doing a great job when you're not doing a great job.
Right.
Because now I'm an enabler.
Yes.
So if your form is trash, I'm not going to say it's trash. I'm going to come adjust you, help you to keep you safe. And then when you get it, hey, you got that. That's what I'm talking about. You feel that? Ooh, yeah. Okay, that's that face, the ooh shit face?
Yeah.
Yes. But until then, I'm not going to say, you got this. You got it, guys. You got it. Good job.
Yeah,
you have to earn that.
Yes, you do, and you have to be honest, because that's how I was. I'm so honest that I very seldom give out compliments, but if I do, I'll sit there and go, if I gave out gold stars today, you would get a gold star. And they're like, what? Yeah. I go, but they go, that's the first time you ever told me that. And I go, it might be a while before I tell you that again, but you'll know when I do, it's for real. It's not just, it's not just that make you feel good, so you'll continue, training with me.
Right.
I want you to put the effort into this, because that's the only way you change. And I know you guys, you adhere to that. That that I can. We're nothing more than facilitators.
Right.
We show you what to do. We tell you what to do. But if you don't do it,
Right.
if you half-ass it,
Yeah.
you're going to get half-ass results.
Exactly.
Hey, I tell people all the time, don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. You already here.
Yeah.
You already, because here's the thing too, right? This is why I'm not a fan of the robots and the cookie cutter and the whatever. You don't know what it took for someone to get to the door at Title to
That's
see Ronnie.
right. I
You
see
don't know what's going on in their personal life. While they was driving over there, they contemplating like, man, I don't really want to go. Work's up. My husband cheating. Whatever's going on. Something's happening. So I tell people as other instructors or I'm like, listen, once they come through the door, you have to give them everything,
Yes.
because you don't know what it took for them to
Yeah.
get there. And then to get there for you to be on your phone, or to get there for you to just give them some cookie cutter, I don't care energy. I'm like, you're doing them a disservice. I've had people write me letters and tell me the first time they took a class, they were suicidal.
Yes.
I had a girl tell me that, like, she said, I need you to train me. I have an 8-week workout program. She's in my program.
Wow.
This girl she don't need, like, from the outside.
Right.
Don't need a trainer. She's like, I need you. I'm like, okay. So I set up a meeting. I'm like, let's talk about this contract, all that. She said, okay. When I first walked into the place to meet her, I said, you been crying? She said, no. And she just busts out in tears.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, so she gives me a hug. She's like, there's some stuff going on in my family. Cool. Trained her for 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, she's one of them clients you love, right? Like, works hard. She gonna cuss you, but she gonna do whatever you say.
Yep. The ones that cuss you always
You
do.
love it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When it was over, she said, Kenyatta, you know I didn't need you to train you, right? I've been working out since I was like 2. I said, yeah, I know. I didn't understand. She goes, but you are the only person that I knew that can help me with this, because I was having suicidal thoughts on the regular.
Wow.
What? That's what it's about. She didn't say, hey, thanks, I got a bigger booty and look at my Instagram.
Yeah.
People are fighting for their life
Yeah.
in here, and they're coming to get something. Maybe they're empty and they need us to fill them up.
Yeah.
So as an empath, that's what we do, right? So by the end of the week, I'm like, oh, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Just how many energies
Yeah.
am I around? How many different? And you don't know. Everyone doesn't tell you.
Right.
Unless, like, for me, it's usually like a gym will close. And then I get these letters and emails and, oh my God, I was raped or I was molested. And
Yeah.
so one thing I do is I end my class with the word of the day. Whether it's pain, whether it's discipline, whether it's change, or some type of, as you say, personal development, some type of motivational thing after the cool down. But I mean it, because really, I'm talking to myself out loud.
Right. Right.
At the end of the day, and I'm like, if it touches one person,
That's it. Yeah.
good.
That's
And one girl came to me and said, oh my God, after your first class ever, I thought I was going to die. And then you said something about pain at the end. And I'll never forget, because I was going through X, Y, and Z. And I was in so much emotional pain. It wasn't even physical. She said, I went home, I cried, and she's one of the girls that went to the retreat with me in Greece, like with 20 people. Like,
I always say that when those people come in through the door, even I can tell if they're out of shape. I can tell there's something wrong. I can tell they're dealing with some kind of they're bringing baggage with them.
Right.
But the first thing I usually tell them, like, hey, you got a lot of damn courage.
Yeah.
You're coming
that's real.
You come into the Title Boxing Club. You come into a high intense class. I'm not here to kill you. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna make sure you never come back. I'm gonna build you. But I just want to let you know that you got courage. You got guts for coming in here by yourself to put some gloves on and go at it on the bag.
Yeah.
You're already winning already. You're here. You know what I
Right.
mean? We'll take care of the rest for you, you know?
Let me ask you this, because Kenyatta spoke to it, and I know I've felt that too. And I truly believe this happens with all really good personal trainers. Is that at the end of the day, you're exhausted because emotionally, I
Yeah.
mean, you
Yeah.
can't when you're that invested in your clients,
Mm-hmm.
and you do have those empathic feelings towards them,
Mm-hmm.
it drains you, because
Yeah.
it's that energy that's put on you, that their energy
Yeah.
is put on you, and
Right.
and so honest to God, so let me know. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced that as
Oh,
well.
definitely. I take great responsibility. I feel like I have a responsibility for them and their lives. I hate that, it's like that's how I am. I carry their weight on my shoulders. So I've had people like Kenyatta said that said they called me, they wanted to commit suicide.
Right.
And I have to sit on the phone for hours and talk them out of it. And then they would come train in Jeet Kune Do, or they come train in the gym, and I would get them back in shape, and they start feeling better. It completely changes their lives. I'm training a young lady to fight. I didn't know anything about her when she first came in last year. I didn't know everything she'd gone through. I'm not gonna put her business out, but she didn't have a great life. But then after the year, when her body structure changed, she changed mentally and physically. She wasn't doing certain things no more. She was staying out of trouble. She wasn't taking medications no more. And then the grandmother told me what an impact I was on her life, as if I was her father, because her father wasn't around no more to be, bad reasons. But me, the way I take when somebody tells me that to my face, I feel embarrassed, and I don't know why I feel like that. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I'm not used to hearing that, and I get a little bit shy and like bashful and embarrassed by it. I don't know why. Do you ever feel like
You
that?
know what? Yeah, but you know what that is? We're givers.
Yeah.
So when it's time to receive, it's kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Because you give and give and give. You're like, I'm the giver. This is what I do. And
Right.
then someone gives you that type of compliment, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you're welcome, but it's kind of weird. But like, thank you. But like, give
Right.
me a minute, because now I need to process that, because we're just so used to giving. And
Right.
that's one of the things that I had to learn. Like, Kenyatta, you got to take these compliments and you got to just say, we have to learn to say thank you and
Yeah.
leave it at that. Not thank you, but,
Yeah.
or, you
Right.
know what I mean? Because we'll try to diminish it
Right.
and
Yeah.
then turn it back around and be like, yeah, well, your daughter's phenomenal. It's like, no, take that, because you need to be filled up too.
Right.
And that's the universe, or whatever you believe in, the most high, whatever, coming back around and saying, this is the good karma,
Let it
coming back around and saying, hey, you impacted
right.
such and such life in such a way. So yeah, and it's not, I can tell the three of us like super humble, right? My friends always say, man, all this stuff, you're too humble. I'm like, what is that?
Too humble.
What is that?
Right.
Because if I'm boastful, then I'm too cocky, and I'm
Mhm.
right. So we're humble people. So it's kind of like weird. And you're like, well, I'm just doing what I was put here to do.
Right.
Right. Right.
But you're purpose driven, you're passionate, and most people don't have that.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't.
They
So
don't. You're in the wrong field, and that's
Right.
the things. Like, I knew, and I've said this, many times. I was one of those fortunate people. When I was 15 years old, I knew this is what I wanted to do. I had a whole, like, I
you
had this
knew
whole
early.
thing written out about what my gym was going to look like and how it was going to operate. And of course, it changed over the years.
Yeah.
But that's what I knew I was to do. The first day when I was in junior high school, we had a class in weightlifting, and I was able to pick up a weight and feel it. I was like, this is my thing.
Wow.
I fell in love with it immediately. I went and found those cheap ass concrete weights. I used to take my 15.
Covered in plastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they're always cracked open, always cracked
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I used to take, before I even had that, I would take my 15-pound bowling ball in my hand and I would curl like 100 times, and then I would shoulder presses 100 times with each hand. Because I loved it, and I knew, like I said, not everybody's that blessed that they can go, oh, what am I going to do for the rest of my life?
Right.
I knew this is what I wanted to do, and it was my passion to do it. I will say this: we've all had those stories. I had a woman who was well over 100 pounds overweight, and she was about ready to give up on life. She said, she goes, you are my last resort. This woman went on to do things that I've never even achieved.
Wow.
She's run marathons. She's been in Ironman triathlons. I mean, she's just phenomenal. She's one of my greatest success
Wow.
stories. I've had many of them over the years, but she's probably one of the greatest
Right.
because she changed her mindset. And, you know, and like you said, it's draining because it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. And the last person I had in here as a client, I still have some clients, but I'm not taking any new ones because this is now my passion. This is what I want to do. I want to get your story out and Ronnie's story out. I want people to go, all right, how do I find a good personal trainer? Well, we got a podcast that's going to tell you how you find a good personal trainer, you know, and this is, and the advice that you guys are giving out right now will help these people to go, oh, that's what I should be looking for in a personal trainer, because I know we've all experienced this too. I've seen personal trainers who will teach something they don't know shit about. I've seen a young guy who was teaching this kid about boxing. He didn't know the first damn thing about boxing, but the mother knew less and the kid knew less. So he looked like he knew what the hell he's talking about. And I said, you know, I went up to the mother. I go, look, I very seldom do this. And I go, and I'm so sorry, but this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's taking your money. And what's going to happen is that your kid's going to have to go relearn how to do it properly through someone who actually can teach him. Right. Yeah. You know, and so I know we've all seen personal trainers who will step outside of, well, most of those trainers don't have any real knowledge to begin with in anything, but they'll step outside. I saw one guy, because he was Brazilian, was talking shit about MMA, about how he could teach. You don't know the first damn thing about MMA. But because he was from Brazil, he could talk a good game. And I was listening to him give a spiel one time about, you know, how they do it down in Brazil, and I was like, that's not how they do it at all. You are talking out your ass. Yeah. But his client didn't know that.
Right.
You know, and so I'm like, look, if your personal trainer hasn't done it, I would go, I don't care how good his spiel is. If he's never done MMA fighting himself, he don't know what the hell he's talking about. Right. It's that simple. If he's never boxed, he don't know what the hell he's talking about.
And that's the dangerous thing about everything like that. Like when somebody has a leadership role, they can take somebody totally off their path. Maybe a pastor, right? Maybe a teacher, a bad pastor, a bad teacher, a bad basketball coach, or any kind of coach in sports can ruin somebody's journey. It's happened to me. I used to play high school basketball in Kentucky, and they brought this coach in, right? He was from Arkansas. He played with Scottie Pippen. And we thought he was going to be cool. Like, all right, it's going to be cool, right? This guy was the meanest. He was a bully. And he was there just to bother everybody. The coach didn't really know how he was, right? But he bullied me for 3 straight years, right? But I kept fighting back. So the more I fought back, the more he sat me on the bench. The more I fought back, you're not allowed to shoot a jump shot. The more I fought back, you're not allowed to do a layup. The more I fought back, you're not allowed to dribble. This is a true story. You know what I mean? You know where it all started from? We were playing summer league basketball game. He came in. He was dunking on people. He was blocking people's shots. He was talking shit. I mean, it was bad, right? So here I am on a fast break. He's coming on one way. I'm coming. We're gonna meet head to head, right? So what do? I jumped from the free throw line, and it was already too late for him to jump. He jumped late. I did a layup on him and made it. He fell to the ground, and everybody's like, "Ooh!" He got up. You should have saw the anger in his face.
Oh, yeah.
It never went away. He bothered me for 3 straight years. All right. I remember having a swollen knee. He came up to me sitting down because the doctor said I wasn't supposed to play on that knee no more. He came up to my face while nobody was looking. He said, I know why you're not playing, because you're a pussy. Ooh. And I said, what? And I stood up and he goes, oh, what you gonna do, Vega? And he made a big scene out of it. He made it look like I'm the one that's causing trouble.
Yeah.
So for 3 straight years, man, people in my high school were like, what's wrong with you in the games, man? They had no idea what was going on behind closed doors. It's a long story, but you know, it ended almost with a fist fight in the locker room before a game. That's how bad it was. But you see, when you put these people, these bad people in these leadership roles, they can ruin people's journeys.
Yeah.
They can ruin people's lives.
Yeah.
That's why it's very important for people to recognize basically these false prophets.
Right.
You know what I mean? These false people that take these roles, and they're not real people. People need to recognize this because they can really do damage to people. And mentally, he did damage to me. But now when I look at my son, and it happens to my son, they sit him on the bench when he's supposed to be the best player in the team. They sit him on the bench for what reason? Maybe because he's Puerto Rican. You know, maybe it's because of that. But this is something we got to deal with constantly, and we got to fight through it. So sometimes I take leadership roles. I'm coaching basketball this year again because I feel like I'm not going to just sit down kids. I'm going to play all the kids and make sure all the kids learn something.
Right.
And they enjoy the game of basketball. And I'll do the same thing with baseball, and I'll do the same thing with martial arts or boxing, whatever that may be. It's about them bringing the enjoyment in that sport, whatever that they're doing, but having them learn something and walk away from it learning, But that's the common problem we have in this world. We got bad coaches, bad pastors, bad teachers. It's very rare we have those really good leaders that can lead a group into,
Well, we see it getting worse and worse in this society, and especially now with social media. We have a bunch of fakers out there.
Yeah.
They're nothing but pretenders, and you'll see them I don't know how many personal training or fitness training sites are on YouTube, and I see majority of these people don't know what the hell they're talking about, and people will follow them, especially these young kids who got like a six-pack. I go, you do realize the reason he has a six-pack is because he's 18 years old. He could go out and drink pizza and eat that bitch is still going to have a six-pack. So he has a six-pack doesn't mean he knows what the hell he's talking about, because most of them don't. And so you really do. It's so confusing for people. And so that's why I say, look, if these people haven't done the thing that they're going to teach you, then they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right. And that's pride. And I mean, even listening to Ronnie, I won't even go into mine. I had a similar, I'm listening to you and I'm like, yeah, there was a coach in my high school. He played with Gary Payton and he thought and he came in on the same, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, what I realize is there's pride and ego, which, we know pride and ego come before destruction. So these are self-destructive people. And so what they get off on is, how do I make someone else feel like I feel? So whatever was going on in that dude's life or whatever he didn't accomplish, he played with Scottie Pippen, he didn't do something. And he's like, I'm going to make sure that nobody does anything because I didn't do it. And then he projects that negative energy onto you, and he's insecure and you're a threat. Like I always talk about this in the fitness world. On top of the obvious, I'm a Black man in America, like a walking threat every day of my life. Now, y'all watching this or whatever, I don't know if you and Ronnie talk. Me and Ronnie go way back to I was like 5.
Right.
So this isn't some random, me and this dude grew up in Berlin, Germany together. Right. So for me to see him doing martial arts and whatever, I'm like, of course he's doing that. We was watching Bruce Lee like every damn day.
Yeah.
Like, so it doesn't shock me. And I knew he was an athlete. I knew he could play. We grew up together.
Right. Yeah.
And so I was humble enough in my fitness journey, because I'm really big about experiences. Do you need to go get certifications? Yes. But I'm not I call them cert chasers.
Right.
I'm going to pay for all the top stuff and apply none of it.
Right.
But I'm going to show you my shrine. I know a guy who's a nutritionist who owned a gym, who was the biggest person in the gym. Like out of shape, bruh. And a guy came to me one day after I taught a class. The dude wasn't even in my class. He just saw how many people were coming out. He saw me interacting with people. And he said, "This your gym?" I was like, "Nah, bruh, it's his." And he looked and he said, "Who?" Man, that dude right there. He said, "Him." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I would never sign up at this gym if that's what the owner looks like."
Wow.
And I was like, "Yeah, but he's NASM certified in nutrition."
Yeah, exactly.
Like it doesn't make sense. And so you have these people where I'm like, yes, I have certifications. I don't even talk about that. Right. But I have experiences that supersede anything that's been in a book.
Correct.
Right.
Where a guy comes to my class, he was born with his feet backwards, so they had to break his feet multiple times for him to be able to walk, for his feet to be forward.
God almighty.
That wasn't in a book for me.
Yeah.
I had another guy who had 2 prosthetic legs and he had a remote control on his keychain. So I didn't understand that. I don't have that. I said, bro, before we start, how does this work? He said, well, if I push it like this, it locks the knees in place. So if we're doing push-ups or something on the ground, I'm fine. So if I push this, it loosens the knee joint, so to speak. So if we're like running. So in that moment, I catered my class to, okay, I'm not going to go up, down. I'm just going to stay up here for a while. And then I'm going to go down there for a while so that he feels successful. And I ask people, especially when they're new, hey, do you have any injuries? Right. A girl told me, yeah, I can't feel my feet. I was like, ha, I never heard that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
She's like, no.
Wow.
I have no feeling in my feet at all. Wait, what? So I can't even fathom that. And I said, okay, well, what really is challenging for you? She said lunges. So in the moment, I'm not doing lunges today. Like, but that's experience.
Right.
And so you have these people that their experience is just, hey, look at me and my body and look what I can do physically. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have that much experience yet. And so they can't apply it to, that's why when you're a robot and you write stuff down, one, you don't trust yourself.
Right.
Because I'm like, yo, the information comes from up there to here to the paper. I might write it down and then I know it already because it was here. But what happens is if they get thrown off in a class, now they're off because they were trying to stick to the
right.
So then they get the oops, I'm sorry. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm like, nobody wants to hear that.
Right.
They don't want to hear that you're sorry. So you have to be able to adapt and adjust on the fly. And so I was humble enough when it came to boxing. Ronnie knows me. I didn't box nothing.
Right, right.
That wasn't my thing. I played sports, but I was always intrigued. Right. And I was actually more intrigued about the mentality. Like, what does it take to box? Not physically, I can handle that. So I started doing mitt work with one of my boys, and I'm like, this is some other stuff.
Yeah.
And right away, he hit me like, hey, bro, I see what you're doing. Do you mind if I send you some tips and help? I'm like, please. Because I have to be in student mode for life. Ronnie don't have to certify me. That's my boy. Like, hey, bro, I'm going to see this video. See when you throwing your jab. I'm like, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I need you to do it like this. And it took me a while. Like, I see what he's saying.
Right.
I ain't doing it, but I know what he's saying. But if I'm going to trust someone, man, I'll trust this dude 100,000%.
Right. Well, that's the difference between learned knowledge and applied knowledge. And, and I go, you want to have both, but if you have to take one over the other, applied knowledge always supersedes learned knowledge because learned knowledge can be just theory. You can take learned knowledge and apply it in the real world and go, oh, it doesn't turn out exactly the way it says in the books.
Right.
But your experience will tell you that. And that's why when you're talking about experience, you're absolutely right. There's nothing that beats experience and learning and knowing when you do these things firsthand, how they really work. I always get a kick out of people who come to me and go, well, you're supposed to eat like this. And I go, yeah, that's not true. I don't give a damn what book you read that in.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's not going to work. And then I have to sit them down and show them why it's not going to work.
Right.
Or some exercise, and then I had a woman, honest to God, had a woman one time back when I first started training people. I worked at a women's gym. It was a women's only gym before Curves ever was around. And one day I had this older woman come into me and she brought a book in and she plopped it down on my desk like that. And she goes, why aren't we doing sit-ups like this? And I go, what? Why aren't we doing sit-ups like this? And I looked at her and I turned the book to the very front and I go, see that? Copyright date 1957. I go, we've learned a few things about the sit-up. But I said, you take your book and you go home and you do your sit-ups the way that book tells you.
Yeah.
And she goes, no. I go, no, I'm done. I don't like being challenged. Listen, I don't come before you and not know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm that person who will learn every aspect before I teach anybody, because the last thing I want to do is look stupid by telling somebody to do something to find out I told them wrong. I will be that person.
That's fun. You got to be okay with like people come to me for nutrition. Like I've been vegan for 4.5 years, and I'm like, listen, I don't push this on nobody. Right? I said, I eat to live. I did it. There was multiple reasons. Like I lost my father to colon cancer early in life. I mean, he was young, like 57, right? And that did something to me. And then it was like, but I just feel better. At the end of the day, we're not going to get into all the details or whatever. And I'm like, listen, what you eat don't make me shit. So if you want to eat whatever, don't ask me what do I need? And then you don't apply none of it. Or don't tell me what you can't do. Well, I can't eat that. And I'm like, you never had it. But I can't though. Well, I can't give up. Then you're right.
Right.
So then you don't want to change. You just want some attention. Just tell me you want some attention. Don't try to dress it up, because I'm not going to tell you to eat the way I eat. I'll tell you to listen to your body. And if you want to change things slowly. But there's that people want this one cookie cutter, one piece of paper solution and say, this goes to Ronnie and everybody does this thing. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way. How do I not know? I didn't give you a grocery list and you're allergic to 99% of the things on the list. I don't know. So when people ask me, I'm like, listen, if you want to know what I buy, I will share that with you. However, Lindsay over here is a nutritionist.
Right.
Go see her.
Yes.
Because I'm not passionate. I love to eat. I'm not passionate about nutrition. I'm just not. So even in the vegan world, there's stuff I can eat that my body's like, we don't like that. And then I know, oh, my body didn't like that. Well, that's off the table, right? But people assume, oh, man, you're going to try to push that vegan stuff. I was watching the fights last night with my boys. Ain't none of them vegan. I brought the most ridiculous vegan snacks, cookies, whatever, right? And I should have been recording this because they killed them. Like, bro, I didn't know. I'm like, I'm just telling you, there's fat vegans too, bro. It's out there. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. And so I don't put that pressure on myself, and I don't know what I don't know. So I started telling Ronnie, like, bro, I got these ideas for a boxing program, but I was like, I want to come out there and just spend like a week with you, like, because I know. And then I show my boys here that's helping me. They like, man, your boy out there is cold. I'm like, oh, I know. I'm telling you, because you can see it, but you don't just see the physical. You can see that he cares. You can see the progression. You see different types of people. If you would have asked me 6 months ago, would I be holding mitts for somebody? I'd be like, what? No. Yeah. I don't even know what you're talking about.
I think it's awesome, Kenyatta.
You know what I mean?
Shit, Kenyatta doing some boxing. You can see the progression.
Right,
I've been watching him for months now. You know what I mean? He's getting better and better. Now he's holding the mitts. You know, I can see that's getting better and better.
I got addicted, bro.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you hold mitts, it's a form of expression to me. I'm not holding mitts like a robot, right? Just going,
right, yeah.
Nah, my face is with you. I'm like, come on.
Well, yeah.
Come on, I'm feeling it. I'm punching with you. You know what I mean? I'm expressing myself with you at the same time. It's like a form of art to me. I'm creating a painting with your punches.
Yes.
The mitt work. You know what I mean? But some people out there think they just hold the mitts.
No, and that's
beautiful, bro.
I hold mitts, like if I were holding mitts for you, like whenever I held mitts for you or anybody else, it's like I keep my chin down because I'm thinking the same thing you're thinking. I'm thinking, okay, if this was really me, I don't want my chin. I don't want to get in the habit of holding mitts and then be in a bad form.
Right.
Because then if I, when it comes time, my chin's up, I'm gonna get knocked out. So yeah, I'm with you.
We got that old saying: fight like you train, train like you fight.
Exactly.
So if you holding mitts, you're still fighting. If you're punching the punch bag, you're still fighting. If you're punching the mitts, you're still fighting. If you're punching air, you're still fighting.
Exactly.
Train like it. Just don't be doing it just for the shit of it. You know what I mean?
Right. It becomes like a dance.
Right.
Yeah,
like sometimes I just get chills. Like somebody know, like I have an assistant. She's also a photographer, but she's in a lot of my videos because she got hands. And it just becomes a thing where I'm like, man, this is dope. Like I haven't been addicted or fallen in love with something aside from basketball and fitness until holding it.
Right.
Really.
Well, once you learn the science, like they talk
Yes.
about the sweet science, because most people
Yes.
just think it's two guys in the ring just pounding on each other. It's
Right.
like, you know what? That's because you don't understand what it's about.
Right.
And until you learn, you're never going to be able to appreciate fully the art of boxing,
Right.
you know, or fighting in general until you do it yourself, until you learn about that portion of it. I told briefly because Kenyatta, we talked about before we set this this podcast up. You said something that I thought was very profound. You said everyone has a story, and you're right. You know, and I just touched on my story about what got me into this, because I knew when I was by 15 years old, I knew what I wanted to do because I fell in love with it. But what I'd like for the listeners and the viewers to hear is I'd like them to hear your story, and I want them to hear Ronnie's story. Like what got you into personal training, into the fitness world, if you will, that drew you in and said, I this is what I want to do.
Right. I think it all started with me when I was, kindergarten, 5 years old. My dad brought in Into the Dragon, Bruce Lee's Into the Dragon, and I must have watched it over.
And I was upstairs listening to it in the room.
So what he's Enter the Dragon was Ronnie's Lion King when he was a kid.
Oh.
Yes, absolutely.
Look,
Yes.
my dad was an Army soldier. And he didn't care whether it was rated R or whatever. We watched it. He didn't hold no punches back, man. I told you,
Facts.
he accidentally rented Flesh Gordon instead of Flash Gordon. After a whole hour, we were like, wait a minute, Dad.
It's like, when is the fight scene? Because they doing something else.
That was that flying ship. It looks weird. Like my mom woke up, she's like, what in the hell?
Yeah.
That story all the time. But my dad, man, he rented, he constantly watched Kung Fu movies and a lot of Bruce Lee movies. And then I remember the day he took me to a karate school. And the instructor wanted to spar me, right? On the first day. Damn. You know what I was doing? I was doing Bruce Lee noise. Right. I was like, what? My dad was cracking up. And let me tell you something, man. I just fell in love with martial arts from there. And it went dormant after, because I did martial arts about 5 to about 12, and then went dormant when I was 14. I didn't think it was cool no more. I was like, I don't need this shit. I just want to play basketball and baseball, whatever. And then it came back. It came back when I was 19, 20. I was at a gas station, and I was pumping gas, and this gang rolled up. And, by that time, my dad retired out of the Army. So I'm over here. I'm over in Orlando at a gas station. And my younger brother sitting in the front seat. And I just felt like if I had a fight, there's no way I can defend myself and my brother, that we were going to lose. Something bad was going to happen. Thank God they didn't do nothing. They were just talking all this mess or whatever, right? But that happened, and I had a friend of mine who would always talk about Bruce Lee every day. Did you know Bruce Lee did this? Did you know Bruce Lee did that? Did you know Bruce Lee created this? I mean, every day was Bruce Lee. I'm like, damn, dude, I didn't know that shit. So I went and bought a Bruce Lee book, and I started getting into it. And guess what? It started forming, right? And I would practice Jeet Kune Do. I didn't know no Jeet Kune Do, but I was reading from the book.
Right.
I would practice it, and I'm like, am I doing this shit right? Am I throwing the straight lead right? And then one day I was wearing a Bruce Lee shirt. I was walking around the mall, and this guy came up to me out of nowhere. He goes, hey, you like Bruce Lee? I'm like, yeah. I thought, it's kind of weird. This guy came up. He was like, well, I know a guy who teaches it. I'm like, what? He was like, yeah, here's the name. He wrote down the phone number and the address. Go to him. He teaches Jeet Kune Do. I was like, word. I went over there, and guess what? I stayed ever since. 20-something years later, I still know Tim Martyr.
Yep.
And that's the beginning of my journey. And I was back in martial arts again. Something that my dad first taught me, and now I'm ending it with my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how my whole martial art life started, from there. Bruce Lee, man.
Yep.
Bruce Lee. Now I'm lineage to him.
Right. You are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm a direct lineage to Bruce Lee. And that to me is still unbelievable that if you would have told me that as a child, like, Ronnie, you're going to be lineage to Bruce Lee. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Pass me that basketball. You know what I'm saying? So, it
That's
took me,
funny.
I have to slap myself and just wake up like, man, this is crazy. Like me, I'm connected to Bruce Lee. I can meet his wife whenever I want to, or I can go to his grave whenever I want to, or people, I'm actually like keeping his spirit alive.
Right.
I'm one of the people
Yeah.
keep his spirit alive, and something that's very, I'm proud of it, but it's like Jeet Kune Do is dying. His philosophy is dying. His
Mm.
spirit is dying because we live in a world now. Remember, we had a discussion. There's a lot of
Mhm.
haters nowadays.
Right.
They come out, Bruce Lee wasn't real. Bruce Lee was just an actor. A lot of shit they're talking about, they don't even know what they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I feel, and I see a lot of instructors, kind of like the strength and conditioning coaches, bad coaches that are talking this stuff and they don't know what they're talking about, or doing something that doesn't make any sense. I see the same thing in Jeet Kune Do. So at one point, I gave up teaching. I didn't want to teach anymore. After one of my students passed away, I didn't want to teach no more. I was like, I didn't help him. I wasn't able to help him because I took responsibility, because I was the last person who talked to him on the phone. And what did we talk about on the phone? Jeet Kune Do. And he was saying he's going to stop doing this, stop doing. He's coming back home, wants to take care of the kids. He died 3 days later of an overdose.
Man.
So I
Dang.
feel like a lot of responsibility about that. You know what I mean? And then I tried to train his kid, and his kid was so broken that I wasn't able to help him. And I took that personally too. This kid did something that I, didn't agree with. It wasn't cool what he did. He tried to set up a fight, brought this guy to come fight me. He acted like he didn't know the guy, but they didn't know that I was feeling good that day. I had no back pain. I had nothing. I felt the energy when he came. I knew something was wrong. Like my body was like, hey, we ready. We got to get ready.
Right.
So the guy challenged me after class, but I told the dude, I was like, look, man, I don't believe in rules. So if you're going to challenge me, there ain't no rules. I'm going to throw dirt in your eye. I'm going to bite you, pull your hair. I'm going to do what my philosophy tells me to do to win the fight, because I'm going home back to my kids.
Mm.
And then he was like, got quiet. He was like, no rules? I was like, no rules. So if you he brought Ginsu knives and his MMA gloves. So if you want to pick up your Ginsu knives, I will pick up my Kali sticks. And he's like, oh no. I was like, if you want to wear your MMA gloves, I'll go barehanded with you. I don't care. And I'll put my fingers in your eyes. So what you want to do? And he was like, I changed my mind.
Smart move.
It was it was like very smart for him. But then when I found out the kid set it up, that was the last straw. That hurt my feelings bad, man. It was like, man, but yeah, that's all. That's that. So coming back to Jeet Kune Do,
Well,
that's how I first started.
I think it's fair to say that Bruce Lee inspired millions of people. I mean, millions of people, and so you definitely found somebody worthy of your dedication to. So good to see. Kenyatta, what got you into this?
Well, he had Bruce Lee, and I was watching Bruce Lee Roy, which is a whole different thing. I was watching The Last Dragon when he was watching Enter the Dragon. It was a whole thing. You know what I'm saying? But no, man. I mean, I grew up playing sports and everything, and then I left Washington State and I went to school in Miami. And right before I left, me and two of my friends were working out, like on a military base, right? And we were just Ronny will tell you, I was this big. I looked like this.
Oh yeah,
like I was the little dude, like for the longest. And I remember there was a guy who was just in the gym, and I mean, I don't know now if he was really as big as I imagined, but just brolic. And he was like, me and my friends were pretty consistent. We didn't know what we was doing, but he was like, hey man, y'all three come over here. I'm like, he's like, man, you guys look like you're disciplined. He's like, keep working out. He goes, I don't look for jobs or whatever. When you look the part, you don't have to search for things. And we're like, what? Man, whatever. Ain't nobody trying to hear that, right? Yeah. So I go to college, and there was always this thing, like I stopped pursuing basketball, even though I loved it. I just stopped. Like things wasn't working, and I was like, man, whatever. And I was like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. But fitness was always there, like whispering, like, hey, I'm right here. Like, just pay attention. However, I lived in Miami. I was not paying attention. Okay. I worked in South Beach. I worked in the hottest clubs in the country. I was doing music videos. I was on TV. I was doing a lot of stuff. But within that, I still was working out for myself. It's the one thing that was not going away. But I wasn't paying it enough attention to make it a thing. So I was like, all right, partying, whatever. When my right before my dad passed away in Miami, I got robbed at gunpoint, which was a huge wake up call because, as Ronnie said, like there was nothing I could do, like that I knew. There's a gun to my head, and it was like I was with my girl at the time. The most embarrassing, humbling moment of life, and I'm watching my life flash before my eyes, and I'm like, this is how I'm supposed to. This ain't how I'm supposed to go out. Like this can't be it. And there was like a wake up call, like bam. Leave Miami, a bunch of stuff happens. I moved back to Seattle, or Washington State, and my mom loses her job she'd been at for 16 years. My dad is dying. I get a Facebook message when my dad died from my stepbrother, right? And I still have it. This is how I found out. And one of my boys was like, hey, man, one of my boys parties at levels that people can't fathom. He's like, I know your dad passed away. Man, just come party with me. I'm in town. I'm like, bet. He was the cameraman when I was playing basketball in high school. So me and him go way back. And he became like Tiesto's road manager. Like this dude party. So I party with him. I never, even in Miami, I never would drink to the point of like blacking out or throwing up or none of this stuff. And this night, for whatever reason, my whole body just shut down. And I couldn't figure out what was going on. So internally, I'm going crazy inside. I can't lift my head. I can't open my eyes. My head feels like it weighs 20 pounds. And I'm sitting outside this club and I just start projectile vomiting, right? But I can't even open my eye. I just hear reactions. I hear, put him in the car. And I wake up on some random dude's couch. I don't even know where I'm at.
Wow.
Middle of the night. And I'm projectile vomiting. My heart feels like it's trying to explode out my chest. I get enough energy to call my best friend and say, you have to contact my mom. Think I'm going to have a heart attack and die. Like, this is it. I can feel it. And there was no control. So for like 5 days, everything in my life felt like this. And I didn't know. And I get a phone call that while I was at said party, I had put my drink down to take this picture. These guys thought my drink was some girl's drink.
Oh, damn.
And they put 5 Vicodin in the drink. So that's what happened. And then I was like, wow, like, had I not been in shape, at least I think, I probably wouldn't have made it. Because I don't take pills and stuff as is when it comes to that. So 5 Vicodin, this whole thing happens. And then I started questioning, like, what are you doing here? Like, you're not living with no purpose. So, like, what is it? And, you said it, what, 5, 50, Ronnie said 5, you said 15. I'm like 32. And this light bulb, when people say they have that moment, this thing went off like neon red. Bing. Hey, man, fitness. And you got to help people. And from that day, I told my friends, one of my best friends is a comedian. I said, listen, man, we're going to start working out in the garage, 5 o'clock every morning. This is what we're going to do. And that's how it started for me. And then I started to see the impact that it had on other people. And the reality was I was looking at the Vicodin situation wrong because actually I saved somebody's life.
That's what I was going to say. Did you even realize that you?
I didn't realize that.
Oh my God.
At all. I didn't realize that probably till about 6 months ago. I didn't even realize it. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to live with purpose from this day forward. And the goal is to help people change from the inside out, but to leave something here bigger than myself. Because life was empty. It was fun. I got stories for your ass. A lot of stories. But it was empty. And once I felt this thing that I couldn't sleep, I'm like adrenaline every night. I'm like, I can't wait. A lot of people hate Mondays. Right. I started this fit club on Monday. Friday night, people would message me, I can't wait till Monday. Yeah. I'm like, yo, we're changing the dynamic of Monday. And my boy is like, I'm going to make this video to promote the fit club. And in the video, my homegirl's daughter's 3 years old. mimicking us. And I'm like, yo, we can impact the kids too. Oh, I had 3-generation families in there, and it was just feeling. Mind you, I did this for 2 years for free.
Wow.
He's talking about not knowing your worth, but for free. But it got me to Arizona because I helped a guy online lose 30 pounds, and he was like, man, I see what you're doing up there. Nobody's doing it out here like that. I never thought about living in Arizona. And now I'll fast forward. I've been here 8 years. And from that conversation from the dude when I was like 18, I have never had to go look for a job.
Wow.
He was right. He's like, when you look like discipline,
Wow.
Yeah.
no matter what the job is, they know that you have discipline. And so I'll sit back and I'm like, wait a minute. I moved here with nothing. I started teaching at Grand Canyon University because a friend of mine couldn't do it. She told them about me. A girl in my class told me about a different gym. So I went there. From there, I ended up in Lifetime Fitness, which I used to just drive by like, man, I can't afford that place. They got indoor water slides. You know what I mean? Like I can't. I get a phone call from them. Hey, we heard about you. I used to do a lot of stuff, Beachbody, Shaun T, and all them. So I've been in the same room with these people holding my own. And that was my wake up call because I thought that I wanted to be this master trainer for insanity. And I got selected out of like 10,000 people. They selected 40 of us. I was one of the 40, showed my ass, you know what I mean? And realized that, and I don't know if I could, I would thank him. But like when I didn't get it and people that were not doing what I was doing got it, I was like, and nobody could tell me why I didn't.
Right. I know that.
It birthed like, hey, this voice kept saying, man, make your own stuff. Do your own thing. Create your own. I'm very creative.
Right.
And so that's what would keep me up at night. And then it was Lifetime. And then I never thought I would live in North Scottsdale. There's a gym in Scottsdale, and this lady says they're looking for the best of the best. And I told them about you.
Wow.
And I go there, and it was phenomenal. And then a couple years later, they closed, and these people from Vegas are like, we heard about you. We're from Vegas. And this is where I had to start learning the business side of, because instructors don't get paid a lot. But instructors don't get paid a lot because we don't know the game.
Right.
And we don't know our worth. So we're passionate people. We're the givers. Man, I do it for the love. Nah, man, I need to keep these lights on, though.
Yeah.
Right.
I got kids.
And I should be able to make a living doing the thing I love. Yeah. Where now I have my own clothes, I have online, whatever. But like, there's a whole other side. Now, when people say, oh, I heard about you, every place I've gone, the price goes up. Oh, you heard about me? Well, I never heard about y'all. So this is how this is going to go.
Right.
I'm going to start at this rate. When I fill this room up, because I will, this is going to be my rate. That's what I thought I was winning. I was doing all right for an instructor. Like, I remember making $13 a class. 13.
Wow.
Way past that these days.
Yeah, I would say.
But I met some phenomenal people who taught me how to write a proposal to say, if you want me to come to your gym, this is what I get per class. And every person that comes in here that says they know me and signs up, I get a percentage of their membership fee every month. And the percentage goes up as the number of people goes up. And so once I seen that, I'm like, this is what's not being taught. So right. This is what I want to be able to teach even like a Ronny or anybody and say, listen, do this, because now I bring in other people under my brand. I get paid for what they do and who they bring. I get a percentage of that too.
So I have something to talk to you about after this show.
Okay. Yeah.
Because you're right. That's one of the things like ISA, NASM, all those ACE, all those, they'll teach you shit that you're never going to use. It's right. Like, and I've had people who take their course and, and spend thousands of dollars. I look at it and I go, You don't need to know this shit. You're not a nurse. You're not becoming, you don't need to know, all this, the name of all the bones in your body. I go,
Bruh.
even when you know the muscle groups and stuff, I go, I very seldom will use, I won't say, oh, well, today we're going to work out the pectoralis major.
Bro, you speak my language because it sounds Chinese to people. They're
Exactly.
like, what are you talking about?
They think you're
Go
trying
ahead.
to show off and
Yeah.
that you're talking above them, and they don't appreciate that. So
Right.
so you're not doing yourself any favors by sitting there, showing off what you know. And so, I go, look, you're learning the wrong things. I go, none of these things teach you what to do and how to become successful
Right.
at being a personal trainer and what is
Facts.
really important about being a personal trainer. And so we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that every personal trainer who's worth their weight comes across is we come across clients who have these obstacles, and no matter where you get them, they end up either not staying there, going backwards, or whatever. And Ronnie, I'll start with you. What are the biggest obstacles that you see for your clients to be able to reach their goals, maintain their progress, and move forward from that point?
I would say the biggest obstacle is the money. Can they afford it?
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's
See,
all. I mean, that's
right.
all. They usually it's about money because I can't
See,
say.
I think money is an excuse, but I
Yeah,
we'll
you're
go with
right.
that. Yeah.
But you're right. But you're right. But that's like the number one excuse is money.
Right.
So it's funny, right? I had a guy. I'm not gonna say his name.
Yeah.
I was only charging him $10 per class, right? So he would come
Wow.
right, far away and stuff like that. But now, all of a sudden, he's able to afford. He joined the boxing gym. You know what I'm saying? Which is cool. I want him to.
Right.
But he can afford $120 all of a sudden a month.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got people.
It's about priorities. It's
Yeah.
like yeah, and yeah. All right. And Kenyatta, what have you seen as obstacles?
I think the biggest obstacle is the mindset. And I say that because of social media, right? Like everyone's perfect and they have the right filter and the right angle, and there's no blemishes and there's no stretch marks and there's no whatever. And then so what happens is there's this mentality of like, well, I know what I'm doing. And then, especially now I'm learning this is really with boxing. And this is one of my clients. I won't say her name, but the other day we're in class, and she's someone that I have to take my time to get, like how to squat properly, how to do a lunge without falling over, and I'm telling her about her core and like the placement of her legs and all these things. So in boxing, she's literally having a meltdown. This is a grown woman, like grown. And she goes from like trying to learn, like it was like just a double jab cross or something, like or nothing crazy, to like literally hitting the bag like I can't. And I said, "Are you 7?" I said, "You just had a full on, and this wasn't to everybody, it was to her."
Yeah.
I said, you just had a full on temper tantrum over hitting the bag.
Right.
I said, "You are learning right now. I don't know in what world you think you're supposed to be perfect or whatever, but you got to change your mentality or don't come in here with that." And she's like, "Okay, I'm sorry." And so she comes back to me 2 days later. "Man, I told my sister you said I was acting like a 7-year-old, and she was dying laughing. She said she could see me doing it. And she goes, I just want to tell you thank you." I said, "Here's the thing. I'm still learning as well. So I'm not perfect. So I'll put my blooper reels up there or whatever. I don't care because I'm learning." People, for whatever reason now, maybe because they got Google, I don't know. It's like they don't want to unlearn to learn.
Right.
Everybody knows everything. Ah, man, I know what I'm doing. No, you don't. But you have to be okay with, I don't know what I'm doing. And so the mentality to me is the biggest obstacle, is because this is where they have to live after their 60 minutes with me or you or Ronnie or 45 or 30. They have to live in whatever story's going on in there.
Right.
And I might not know what it is, but it shows up in the insecurities, in the lack of confidence, in the self-esteem, right? So all this other stuff, and they might get their boobs done or their lips done or their butt. They're doing all these things to mask. And I'm like, nah, man, I want to get beneath the surface because I don't care about the surface stuff. I want to know what's really going on because it's gonna help you be. Who cares if there's a Lambo out there and there's no engine?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
You're like, man, that's trash. It ain't going nowhere. It ain't doing nothing. A lot of people are that. The engine is not. It's not there. And so the mindset to me is, I always tell people, this is not just a workout. This is therapy.
Right.
Ain't no white couch in here, but this is a therapy session.
Right.
And once people get that, they're like, oh, yeah, I had a bad day. Or, oh, man, I feel better after I hit the bag. I don't expect you. Nobody in the gym that I teach at, as far as I know, is going to fight on pay-per-view with Mayweather's team.
That's right. That's right.
So I will post and tell people, listen, I'm doing this for fitness purposes, but I'm still open to when Ronnie says, hey, bro, try this, do this, because I'm the leader. And I don't want to be the person that's like, man, we just throwing punches. But that exists, right? You've seen the workout videos, they punch over here. Nobody doing that in real life.
No, I see.
But people are moving.
Mm-hmm.
So we can be like, man, that ain't how you throw a jab.
Right.
Linda at home is knocking off her weight, though.
Right, exactly.
So which one is it?
Yeah.
There's three things I want to point out. One is you're absolutely right. Mindset, because mindset even goes into the money. Because if it's not a priority to them, they're always going to make excuses.
Right.
So there's a few things with mindset, but there's two other things I want to talk about before mindset. One is, if you find a personal trainer that thinks he knows everything, I'd run as fast as I could away
Correct.
from that person, because I've been doing this for longer than most people have been alive, honestly. And when someone sits there and tries to pretend that they're half my age and they know it all, I don't know it all.
Right.
And there's a guy, his name's Jeff Cavalieri on YouTube.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
The guy is superb. He knows his shit.
Right.
Yeah, he does.
And there was something in the comments, and I said something about, I learned this from him, or I can't remember what it was, but anyway, some guy comes on and he's trashing it. I go, that's not true. And I said, you can learn from this guy. And I go, I learned from him. And I go, and I've been doing this for over 35 years. He goes, well, how can if you're so good, then why do you still need to learn? I go, brother, you learn throughout your entire life, and when you quit learning,
done. You're done.
Done.
Yeah.
So if you think you know everything, you don't know anything, and so we should always be learning. I'm going to be learning till the day I die.
Yes.
That's right.
Which won't be for another 60 years. So anyway,
you gotta empty your cup.
And Kenyatta, you said something that kept jogging my memory about this twice now, about the woman hitting the bag going, I can't do this. One of my favorite quotes of all time was by Henry Ford, and he said, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right.
You're right. That's facts, bro. That's
facts. Yeah, that is the fact. If you tell yourself you can't, you're right. You can't. And so until you change that mindset of that you can, you're never going to be able to do it. For mindset, there's a couple things that fall into the category of A, B, and C, and D. One is that all or nothing mentality. It's like, those people. It's like, oh, I'm going to go on a diet on Monday, and I'm going to eat just like this.
Right.
And they think they're going to eat clean, like clean.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you've been stuffing Twinkies and Ho-Hos down your throat for the past year, however many years, and all of a sudden you're just going to give those up, never touch them again, and you're going to start eating carrots and chicken.
Right. No way.
It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So
very rare.
That all or nothing mentality, that I've got to do this all the right way or not at all, that stops people dead in their tracks. And then number two is something that you hit on, where you said perfection. That stops people. You don't need to be perfect.
No.
You just need to do better than you did the day before.
Right.
And when I go on a run, if my run is just a tenth of a second faster than it was the day before, I'm happy. I just don't want it to be a tenth of a second later than it was the day before.
Right.
So, we need to get rid of that perfection mentality. And number 3, they think that if they reach a goal, that's the end all be all.
Right.
Like they don't realize this is a lifestyle.
That's the beginning.
That's the beginning. Exactly. And number 4, it comes down to lack of consistency. If you are not consistent, the 3 of us know, it seems like it takes forever to get in shape.
Mm-hmm.
To especially if you run or if you're fighting or fighting condition or whatever, take a week off and see what happens. So you can't go be taking months or years off and then go, oh, I can come back and start. I was bench. I'll say very few people could do this. I knew a guy who could come into the gym, take 2 years off, come into the gym and still bench 500 like it was nothing. I was like, but he was a rarity.
Very rare.
Right. But then again, he was benching over 600. So he could, he had to work his way back up to 600, but you just can't come back and think, take a week or 2 off. You need to be consistent all the time with your eating, with your exercise, with just like we talked about, that mindset, with it being a lifestyle and not just something you're doing so you can look good at a wedding or at your, class reunion or some nonsense like that.
Right.
You have to, I'll tell people this, you have to know your why. And it has to be bigger than, I see it with the wedding stuff all the time. So whenever a girl is in my class, a woman, and she's getting married, whenever she stops or something in class, I'm like, wedding dress.
Right.
And, okay. Right. And then I have a conversation with them. I'm like, listen, I know your wedding's going to be phenomenal and that's great. What are you going to do after that? Right. And they're like, oh no, I'm going to be here, because a high percentage disappear. And then by the time they come back, they're like, don't make fun of me. Not that I would, but they say that because they built this in their head. Don't laugh at me when you see me. But I said, you know why? Because you gave yourself this short goal. It was your motivating factor, and it's going to come and go. So until you change your mindset into, like you said, lifestyle, right? There is no end until I'm done, till my heart stops beating. There is no end. It's a lifestyle. It's part of my lifestyle. And you have to be okay with, this is a journey, and this is about progression. It's not about perfection. You just get better. So when people come to my class, man, one day I'm going to do your whole class without stopping. I said, no, you're not. You're absolutely not. Because I'm going to turn up on you even more.
Right.
And I said, I didn't design it that way. Right. But I designed it to where you'll get better, stronger, faster, maybe lifting heavier. Maybe it takes you longer to get tired. And that's what helps you. And you keep coming back because it's a challenge. And if it don't challenge you, it don't change you. So if that's what you want, but that mindset of like, oh, it's my birthday or I'm getting ready for Halloween. I'm like, you knew it was Halloween before. It's Halloween the end of October every year. Right. Why did you just show up here the week before and think I'm some miracle worker? No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah, I need 5 days for. I said, Halloween will be in October next year too. So maybe if you start now, but I call it the microwave generation, right? Everybody wants to just put it in 30 seconds, pop it out. Hey, I'm good. And I'm like, you can get all the surgeries you want. You can cover up all the stuff you want. But you know the truth. Mm-hmm. You know what's really going on. And there is no quick fix. And the thing is, when people do the shortcuts and the whatever, you don't learn anything about yourself.
Right.
Workouts teach you about you. That's why people struggle with yoga, because you have to sit your ass down and be quiet and deal. And they're like, man, I can't. My mind was all over the place. I just want to get out of there. Good. Go back then.
Yeah.
Right.
Until you get to the point where there was times in class I'd have fallen asleep. That's the best sleep ever. You know what I mean? That's the best. I'm like, man, I need that in my life. So how many more people need these types of things to balance, because we just, society, aside from the Rona, go, 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 grind, team, no sleep. I'm like, bro, I don't believe in that.
Right.
Because I have to perform every day.
Right.
So I do need to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to your health, though.
Sleep is the most. The research has shown sleep is the most important for longevity of life.
Mm-hmm.
More important
So
than diet, more important than exercise.
Right.
I used to struggle because I was used to working at night.
Right.
I worked from 10 to 5, 6 nights a week on South Beach for 6 years straight.
Wow.
So during the day, I'm giving to everybody, whether that's class, online. At night is when it's quiet for me to focus. So I'm like, man, give me 2-3 hours. They like, what? I'm like, yeah, man, I need about 3 hours and I'm good. Hey, man, you need to sleep more. I'll crash on Saturday, Sunday. So now it's like maybe 3 to 6 hours. Like, but I'm being genuine in my struggle.
Right.
This is what I struggle with. I'm not, if I sleep 8 hours, cancel the day, bro. I'm done for the day.
I'm gonna tell you, if I don't get 8 hours, cancel the day.
Hey, I'll just say, it gotta be at least 6 hours.
Exactly.
I got kids, man.
Right, yeah. So that's a whole nother, you know.
Yeah, you
My
know,
sleep gets interrupted a little.
I forgot because my kids have been grown for a long time, and
You're
so
lucky.
when Rodney was sitting there talking about Halloween, and I was like, Halloween, oh yeah, it's Halloween.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, oh yeah, they gotta like trick or treat or do something, because I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
That's
One of
funny, bro.
the things I really want to talk about before we leave is your clothing line, which I'm gonna get that red hoodie you got because I love
Oh,
it.
thank you.
But I'm also going to get the shirt "You versus You," and I was like, that
I
says
gotta
it
scoop it
all.
up too, Kenyatta. I gotta scoop some up too. Man.
Yeah, because and I have my own, and I have my own merch. I have
Okay.
my Rhino Fitness stuff that I wear. That's my stuff. I don't sell it, but I have my own stuff. But when I saw that, when I saw your, and I love I love what your system is all about, and I want to promote it because I believe in that, and the mindset
Thank
is
you.
everything. But when I saw the shirt that says "You versus You," I go, that says it all right there. And I love that shirt, and I was like, that's genius, and I want to wear that. I want people to see that you're not competing against anybody else. You're
Right.
competing against you.
Yes. That's what I love about the television
Yes, and
stuff
that's
too.
what's
When I see people punching the bags, it's a trip. These people are so focused, they don't even hear the music. They are so focused, they smell somebody who's stinking in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, somebody can smell real bad in the gym. I'll be like, damn. Be looking around, who's there? Who's there? That would break my that break my concentration.
yeah.
The class. These people be on the back, boom, 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 boom. It don't even phase them. It doesn't even phase them.
I've
The music can go out, but they're fighting against themselves.
listen. I've seen some of the videos you posted up on Instagram, and you see some of those people like. I'm like, damn, those people are serious.
Man, them girls
I
you be
know those
working
girls
with, bro.
like
Speaking of girls,
Ooh.
I don't know if it's me, but lately, I think women are becoming the best fighters and the most disciplined
they are.
combat type of human beings on the planet.
I agree.
Bro, I'm training women, and not one time somebody didn't show up when they were supposed to. You know what I mean? Or no excuses. I don't hear excuses. I don't hear anything. And I push them to the limit. And they still want more.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're dead serious. They are as committed as any. And you ever watch in UFC or anything? I know Dana White, because Dana White didn't want women in
I
there.
remember.
Yeah, and so I know he's sitting there being glad that his stupid ass, he got overturned on that.
Right.
But the women fighters are the most exciting fights because they don't stop. They're like lightweights.
Yeah.
They go at it and they don't stop until they're knocked out or until it's over with. Yeah. Or topped up or it's done with. But they just go not. I go, damn, the energy it takes. I get tired just watching them.
Right.
So.
It's amazing, man. It's just amazing that, I have a young lady I'm training now, another young lady, and she's 18. She didn't know any martial arts, anything. And you look at her after a month. Look at her now. I'm holding mitts for her. She's doing Mayweather drills.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing. And she's sparring after a month, I'm like, I can't believe it. I'm like, I don't think about it until I look at videos. I go, wait a minute, damn.
Oh yeah.
Look at that hook.
Yeah.
Look at that uppercut.
Yeah.
Look at the movement.
I can.
It's amazing. Women are amazing. I'm sorry, man.
I can sit there and safely say there are no Karens in his class.
That's hilarious.
I ain't having none of that.
But here's the thing too, right? I just think they listen and they're just technical. They listen to what you say, and I don't think for the most part women just don't have egos like that. Where guys, it's like, let me show you how strong I am, and I'm like, bro, you don't have to hit the mitts like that or the bag. I'm like, bro, you don't have to hit it like that. First of all, everybody in here is undefeated, so stop. Right? Just stop. Like this guy the other day is like, well, I've injured my shoulder. I said, bro, you're pushing the bag. It shouldn't even be moving like that.
Right.
You're not even punching it. You're pushing it.
Yeah. But that's stroke his ego. I'm like, bro, that's why you keep getting hurt. Well, if I stand too far back, then I'm going to hyperextend. I said, you got to find your range, bro.
Yeah.
There's a strong man named Eddie Hall who owns the world record in deadlift, and I've seen him. He's starting to pick up boxing, and this guy's holding mitts, and he's just like a strong man. He's like,
Hulk smash.
Exactly. And I was like, at least he's, to his credit, he knows he needs work, so he's not sitting there acting. But he's the same thing, Kenyatta. The bag's like swinging out here and back. And
ego.
When I first started that's what I did. That was my ego.
Right.
I got taught 2 times. One was by a heavyweight that fought against, or he was Muhammad Ali's sparring partner, and he humbled me. I was like 18, 19 years old. Got in the ring with him, and he's like, "Okay," he goes, "I want to see what you can do." And I go, and so I'm this cocky little shit, and I sit there and go, "Well, look," I said, "I don't mean any offense, but I can hit pretty hard." And so he kind of chuckled. Now this man was way beyond his prime. He had a belly out to here, and and he just and we put the headgear and stuff on. I couldn't even hit the guy, let alone hurt the guy. He was making circles around me, like just and tapping me on the head here, like I was so annoyed because I couldn't do a damn thing about it, And I was like, that's a lesson. And the second lesson was Mike Bell.
Oh, Mike
Bell. Kenyatta, when you come here, you have to meet Mike Bell. He's actually in the Hall of Fame of martial arts here in Florida.
Kenyatta, that guy is amazing.
He's a guy, like every time he turns 60, he went 60 rounds. Like he turned 61 rounds, and I don't even know how old he is now.
I seen him do an exhibition sparring match with a young kid, and he must have been 60 years old when I saw him, and that was like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do what he did. I was in shock. I was like, nah, this guy can't be 60 years old.
No, he's amazing.
That guy can fight.
Wow.
And the thing about him is that he's funny as hell.
Yeah,
and he's
humble.
He'll work your ass off. And and his famous saying is, "I didn't shoot you. I just showed you the bullet."
He's a legend, man.
He's
a legend.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So and it's guys like that who just who make a good name for training and for trainers and stuff who are out there, because Mike Bell knows this shit. I mean, because he fought. He not only fought, he was probably the best fighter during his time in his weight class.
Yes.
So
I feel bad because he wanted me to join him. He was like, I could teach you everything I know, and this and that. And, we were working at the gym, the same gym Mike Bell worked at, Kenyatta, and my instructor Tim, we was there too. Teaching JKD classes and stuff like that. So we were like, cross training with boxers and MMA fighters all in one gym. And Mike Bell was there, and he wanted me to join. He wanted me to teach. He wanted me to teach stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, but for him to come up to me and say that, I didn't think of nothing about it. I was a little bit younger, and I was like, nah, man, I think I'll keep on doing JKD. I should have went with him. Learned some stuff.
One time on his birthday, we were out on the floor, not in the ring, but on the floor. And so we're just like, sparring and stuff. And I did something where I like pushed him because he was messing with me. So I pushed him against the wall, and he was like, "Oh," and I was like,
calm down.
Exactly. But he's just, again, he has the same spirit that you have, Kenyatta, that
Yes,
you
true.
have, Ronnie, that, that you got to make this fun and make it, make it so people want to do this. And, I'm a hypnotherapist, and on top of other things that I do. And, and I tell people, I go, it's not just about repetition. If it was about repetition, then people who join the military and do PT every day, when they get out of the military, they would just continue, but they don't, because they hate it. They don't do it
It's
because
true.
they want to. They do it because they're told to.
Yeah.
And so,
Right.
like you said, if you don't have that why, you're not going to do it. And so you've got to find that why. You've got to find that reward where there's something that matters more to you than that shit you're putting down your, shoveling down your throat.
True.
Or the TV show that you're sitting on the couch watching that you don't want to get up from.
True.
Or whatever it is that keeps you from taking care of yourself. So,
it's a trip. I don't want to get out of my mind yet before I leave, but it's a trip listening to Kenyatta's story, your story, my story. There was always something like hinting us that what we were supposed to do. And we kind of ignored it the first time, the second time. And then we was like, oh shit, we got it the third time. You know what I mean? It finally came to pass. You know what I mean? It's just, that's how the universe works.
right.
I tried to play college basketball. I showed up and I'm like, they didn't even let me try out. So I tried out for a baseball team, made the baseball team. You know what I mean? And I ended up quitting because they didn't want to play me because I was young. Or, I was a freshman. And then I got into other things and nothing would work. But the moment I picked up a camera to start filming movies, oh, it was working. And then the moment I started getting back to martial arts, everything's working. Everything starts coming together. But there was little small hints when I was 5. And then the Bruce Lee story, The Dragon, remember that with Jason Scott Lee?
Yeah.
That movie came out when I was in high school, and it did something. I watched the movie, and it came to me very strong energy, right? So the next day, I ended up trying to practice Jeet Kune Do from high school. I'm starting to remember, like I put a pad on the wall, started doing the straight lead and stuff like that. Martial art came back, and then it faded away. I was like, I'm a basketball player. I'm gonna make the NBA. You know what I mean? So, and then all of a sudden that didn't come to pass. And then here I go, guy starts talking about Bruce Lee. I wear a Bruce Lee shirt. Guy comes to me, hey, Bruce Lee, and look where I'm at now, 20 something years later.
You didn't see it last
Yeah,
time.
that's dope.
Okay.
That's a dope ass picture. I like that picture of Bruce Lee you got on your wall. That's
Two
dope,
things, Kenyatta. One is the reason why he didn't make it with baseball because he was karate chopping all the baseball bats. And number two, he promised me yesterday I could play a villain in one of his movies.
Yeah. Man, that's what's up. I remember seeing his movie trailers and was like, man, like I'll be excited for my friend, like people that I've known. I mean, we got a bond that goes all the way back.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And to see, I think we linked up one time. I was in Orlando and we linked up at the mall. Right. And it was just like, man, like what? This is my boy. Like to see it go from the movies to he's in the gym. Here's what's funny. I'm in a title gym. It's just not title anymore.
Right. That's crazy. Yeah.
So the parallel lines are there. I got basketball stories, all the same stuff. And then that you're right. We wasn't listening to, hey, but at the right time, right. And this is why I teach the way I do, because I'm like, how do we silence this loud, deafening, I'm not good enough. This is why there's a you versus you, all this negative stuff that we just accept. And over here, no matter who you are, there's some whisper telling you what you're supposed to be doing. Right. It's up to you if you want to listen to it or not. But it's there. You know it's there. You can run from it. You can take a detour. You can go over there, and it's still there. Like, hey, you see me over here? You hear me talking to you? And once you accept it, it's like the journey is beautiful. Like, look at this. We wouldn't be sitting here. Think what it took for us 3 to be doing this right here, right now.
It's crazy, man.
It is.
It's like the
like what?
I'm not kidding you. I forced. One time I forced myself to get this job. I forced it. I forced the matrix. I was like, you know what? No, I need to get paid more money. I need to do this job, and I'm gonna get it. I don't care what you say. I ended up getting the job. I was there for 2 years doing a private investigation for a company. I was in a cubicle. I was inside of a building, and it was the weirdest shit, Kurt. Like, people would look at me like I didn't belong there.
Because they knew you didn't.
Right. I only had one woman constantly reminding me. One woman who sat across from me, Manili. That's my lady, Millie. Manili, yeah. She would always say, you do all this stuff, movie stuff, and what are you doing here?
Right.
you don't belong here, Ronnie. You don't belong here. It was the weirdest feeling. Like I kind of like just jumped over a hurdle or forced to go through a hurdle or a roadblock that I wasn't supposed to go through. And then it just felt weird, like I wasn't supposed to be in there. I ended up quitting. I resigned 2 years later. I couldn't take it no more. The feeling I had, the feeling was incredible. It's just one day I woke up and I told my wife, I was like,
I'm done.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not doing, I feel like a gorilla in a cage, baby. I got to do something. And she let me resign. And I ended up, guess what? Getting a job at Tidal by accident. It happened by accident because I was supposed to get the job at Tidal 4 years ago. And then I didn't like the management. There was a lot of negativity. But then this guy got hired there that I knew, Ty. He hit me up one day. You want a job at Tidal? I'm here. I'm a lead now. You want a job? And that's when I didn't have a job. And I jumped on it, you know? And then look at me.
Sometimes we have.
I don't think that was an accident, bro.
Yeah, I don't think so either. We have to be careful because sometimes we do have the power to make things happen, and sometimes we make things happen that we really shouldn't make happen.
Right.
And you know, and when we attempt to force things, it's usually not a good turnout. You know,
Right.
it's usually like you need to be in tune with the universe or whatever you want.
Right.
You know, you believe in, and you'll get to where you're supposed to be. You'll be in the right spot with the right person at the right time. All those things will come together. But it's every time we try to force something,
Right.
we can make it happen. But then later on, we're going, why the hell did we do that?
Right. Yeah.
I know we've all been in relationships like that. Like, I'm gonna make this relationship.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get in a relationship with this person and go, why the hell did I want to be in a relationship with that person?
Yeah. I saw all the red flags, but man, it's okay. I'm like, no, it's not. Yeah, that's real.
One of the things I wanted to say for people out there is this too, is that, you know, we got to where we got because of the right mindset. We have the right mindset. And yet for people out there, you cannot bullshit yourself.
Right.
So there's too many people out there going, oh, I love myself. I love myself. And I go,
Right.
no, you don't. And you know how I know you don't love yourself? Because your actions prove you don't love yourself. If you're 100 pounds overweight, you don't love yourself. You can sit there and convince yourself that you love yourself. But if you loved yourself, you wouldn't allow that to happen to yourself. Because if it happened to your kid, to your friends, or someone else you love, you'd be on them going, hey, you need to take that off because it's killing you.
Right.
It's going to harm you.
Right.
And I love you and I don't want you to be there. So if you're not doing that to yourself, don't sit there and tell me. You might, you know, I think you should accept yourself. But it also, what that means, accepting yourself, is also accept the fact that you have flaws and change those. If they're not working for you, get rid of them.
Right.
You can't sit there and go, oh, I have to accept everything that's in me in order to accept myself and love myself.
Right.
There's things about me that I'm not okay with, that I go, I have to change that.
Right.
Now there's things that other people aren't okay with, and I am, and I go, I'm good with it. So but I'm honest with myself.
Right. Honest.
You know, and that's what you have to be. You have to be honest with yourself to be able to get to that point in your life where you truly love yourself, where you're truly happy with yourself, and not just sit there and you just say it because that's what sounds good.
100%.
Facts, bro.
Gentlemen, I cannot thank you enough. And I know that your words of wisdom are going to help a lot of people out there to be able to, I guess, separate those trainers out there who are worthy of their money and worthy of their time against those who are not. And, you know, and getting people in that right mindset and getting them to understand, you know, what it really takes to be able to change yourself and to change your life, and not just go to the gym and think that because you all of a sudden you can go from lifting 215 to 315, all of a sudden that now you're a great person. You know, it doesn't happen that way.
Right.
So listen, thank you so much for people out in Arizona and even people who are on the internet. Kenyatta, what's your website and again, the name of your company, Arsenal? Tell people all about it and how they can reach you.
You can reach me at my website is KenyattaBanksArsenal.com. I also have ArsenalOnDemand.com, which is the monthly, you know, there's probably over 60 workouts and we add in every month. Those are the two sites. And you can follow my Instagram at Arsenal by Kenyatta. So all one word. So that's where they can find me at, man. And I'm in Arizona. I'm at a place called the Pound Gym, and that's where I'm at Monday through Saturday, and I keep Sundays to myself, unless I'm doing podcasts with great people.
Well, thank you. And Ronnie, what about you?
You can find me at the Title Boxing Club in Winter Park, Florida. You can look up my Instagram at Ronny JKD. That's all I have. I don't have my own website just yet.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
What about for your movies? What do you got? Anything?
No, I don't have. Facebook. Like, it's usually the movies that I've worked on already, like Santos or The Way.
Santos was dope, by the way, and The Way was dope too.
I got some new stuff coming next year.
Yeah.
And we're gonna start actually probably in December. Start shooting some stuff. So I'm giving it one more big. I always say I'll give it one more chance. But I'm gonna keep on pushing to.
Just
I
keep.
Yeah, man. That's right. That's right.
Right.
I'm gonna win by default.
You know what? I can't tell you how many times I've won that way. You just wear them down. They're like, okay, you win.
That's right.
It's a beautiful thing, man, because I've known Kenyatta since the '80s, and we used to sit. I lived on the 3rd floor, he lived on the 4th floor, and when we were kids, we would just sit in the stairwell and talk.
How lucky you have freaking Bruce Lee playing if he could hear you up.
Hey man, these was apartments, bro. It wasn't no good old production, bro. It's like, Kenyatta's in trouble again. Yep. Yeah.
No, for real. It's just we would sit in the stairwell. We would have deep conversations as children.
Yeah.
Deep conversations. Right. I never forgot about him when I moved away because we're military brats. We move everywhere. We make friends, we lose friends, and we're gone. That's it. Some of us reunite in some kind of weird way. Like I bumped into a dude at a mall over here, and he was in my 3rd and 4th, 5th grade class in Berlin. Giovanni Inglis. You remember him? Kenyatta.
Really? You ran it? Wow. Yes.
At a mall. He was staring at me at a mall. I was like, who the hell is this dude?
Wow.
He came up to me, is your name Ronnie? I'm like, yeah. And he's like,
wow.
Giovanni. I'm like, oh shit.
That's crazy.
Let me tell you, I met another girl. I met another girl at a mall. I was working loss prevention at the mall. She came up to me and she was in my 4th, 5th grade class in Berlin too. And that was pretty shocking. You know what I mean? It's like weird, man. The world's very small.
Bro, it is. On that, when I moved to Washington and I played high school basketball, on my team was Corey Hitchcock, who grew up with us in Germany.
Corey Hitchcock, yeah.
We played on the same high school team.
Wow.
Went to the same high school in Lacey, Washington.
Corey Hitchcock. Wow.
And now he's a basketball coach.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he coaches, yeah.
White girl, yeah, I remember red hair.
Yeah, him.
We were good friends playing on playgrounds, man, back in the days, man.
Yeah. God, that's wild stuff, bro.
Man, it's wild. I would have, you always, usually when you think about a person, they come back around sooner or later.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. If you think about them a lot, because I don't forget my memories. I don't forget the people who made an impact.
Right.
I never forget about.
I was gonna say I'm very careful with who I think about.
You like they'll call you like, damn.
Why was I thinking?
Why did I think about her? Dang, my bad.
No, life is beautiful, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I never thought in a million years, at the age of 42, still, this Kenyatta come back, to my life and stuff like that. And it's a beautiful thing. I love you, Kenyatta, man. Man,
I love you too, brother. That's crazy.
Kenyatta, I'm really glad I got to meet you. And,
likewise.
And I really appreciate you doing the show with us and giving us your time. So
yes.
And I look forward to working with you on some other things. We'll talk after.
Cool.
Well, yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. Well, Ronnie, thank you as well for being here, and I really appreciate it. And folks, thanks for joining us. Whether you're listening to us or watching us, I really appreciate your support. And as always, until next time, stay safe, take care, and wear your mask.
There you go.